The snow was already falling when Sophia stepped out of the black SUV at Crystal Peak Resort. She pulled her white fur-trimmed jacket tighter and smiled for the camera her friend was holding. Behind her, the Rocky Mountains looked like something from a postcard, all white peaks and pine trees dusted with fresh powder. "This is going to be perfect," she said, flipping her blonde hair over her shoulder. 3 days of skiing, no parents, no responsibilities. Just us. Her friends laughed and grabbed their designer luggage from the trunk. They'd driven up from Denver in 2 luxury vehicles, leaving behind their winter break from prestigious universities. Sophia was 19 and used to the best of everything. Her father, Richard Whitmore, had made billions in tech, and she'd grown up in a world where money solved every problem. The resort staff rushed to help with their bags. Sophia barely noticed them. She was already on her phone posting a photo with the caption, "Winter Wonderland Vibes." Within seconds, likes started pouring in from her 50,000 followers. Inside the resort, everything gleamed. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. A massive fireplace crackled in the lobby. Rich people in expensive ski wear lounged on leather sofas, sipping hot chocolate that probably cost $20 a cup. Sophia and her friends checked into their suite on the top floor. It had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the slopes, a private hot tub on the balcony, and beds that felt like sleeping on clouds. This was normal for Sophia. She'd been coming to places like this since she was old enough to ski. What she didn't know was that while she was unpacking her color-coordinated ski outfits, someone else was just starting their second shift of the day in the same building. Maya Johnson pushed her cleaning cart down the hallway on the 3rd floor. Her back ached from 5 hours of making beds and scrubbing bathrooms. She had 3 more hours to go before she could take a break, eat something, and then head out for her evening shift with the ski patrol, 22 years old and always tired. That was Maya's life now. She'd moved to Colorado 6 months ago with one goal: become a certified wilderness EMT. She'd always loved the outdoors, loved the idea of helping people in emergency situations. But the training was expensive, and she was putting herself through community college while working 2 jobs at the resort. During the day, she cleaned rooms. At night and on weekends, she trained with the ski patrol team. It was brutal, but she was determined. Maya didn't come from money. She'd grown up in Detroit, raised by a single mother who'd worked herself to exhaustion. When her mom got sick 3 years ago, they couldn't afford the medical bills. Maya had watched her mother die because they didn't have enough money. That's why she was here, pushing this cart, scrubbing other people's toilets. She was building a different life, one where she'd never be helpless again. She knocked on the door of room 304. No answer. She used her key card and went inside. The room was trashed. Wet towels on the floor, makeup spilled on the bathroom counter, room service trays with half-eaten food. Maya sighed and got to work. She was used to it. Rich people didn't think about who cleaned up after them. As she worked, she could hear voices in the hallway. Sophia and her friends were heading to the slopes for an afternoon run. Maya glanced out the window. The sky was getting dark. Not dark like evening, but dark like a storm was coming. She'd checked the weather that morning. A major blizzard was supposed to hit tonight. The resort was already talking about closing the upper trails by 4 o'clock. Maya finished the room and moved to the next one. Her phone buzzed. It was her supervisor for the ski patrol shift. "Big storm coming," the text said. "Need you here by 3 p.m. We're doing final sweeps and then shutting everything down." Maya checked the time. It was already 2:30. She texted back that she'd be there soon, then rushed to finish her last 2 rooms. By the time she made it to the ski patrol station, the wind had picked up. Snow was falling harder now, and the temperature was dropping fast. Maya changed into her patrol gear. Bright red jacket with the medical cross on the back, thermal layers underneath, radio clipped to her shoulder. "Going to be a rough one," said her trainer, a guy named Rick who'd been doing this for 15 years. "Weather Service is saying this could be the worst storm of the season. We've already closed half the mountain." Maya nodded and grabbed her equipment. She'd done dozens of trail sweeps in her training, making sure no one was left on the mountain when conditions got dangerous. But she'd never done one in weather like this. On the upper slopes, Sophia was having the time of her life. The snow was perfect, and she'd always been a good skier. Her friends had already gone down, but she wanted one more run. Just one more before they closed everything. "Miss, we need everyone off the mountain," a patrol officer told her at the top of the Black Diamond Trail. "Storm's getting serious." "I'll be quick," Sophia said, pulling down her goggles. I know this trail. I've done it 100 times. That wasn't entirely true. She'd done it maybe 3 times, always in perfect conditions. But Sophia was used to getting her way. The patrol officer looked uncertain but didn't stop her. People like Sophia, people who stayed in the top-floor suites and whose fathers could buy and sell the whole resort. They weren't used to being told no. Sophia pushed off and started down the slope. For the first few minutes, it was beautiful. The snow fell around her like she was inside a snow globe. She felt free, powerful, in control. This was why she loved skiing. Up here, she wasn't Richard Whitmore's daughter. She wasn't the girl who had to be perfect all the time. She was just someone flying down a mountain. Then the wind picked up. It happened fast. 1 minute she could see the trail markers. The next, everything was white. The snow wasn't falling anymore. It was being thrown sideways by the wind. Sophia couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. She slowed down, trying to stay calm. The trail was here somewhere. She just needed to find the markers. But when she looked around, she couldn't see anything. Just white. White everywhere. Her heart started to pound. This wasn't good. This was the opposite of good. Back at the patrol station, Rick was doing a final head count. Everyone accounted for? He asked. The team checked their lists. One of the lift operators radioed in. Think I saw someone head down Black Diamond right before we closed it. Young woman, blonde, expensive gear. Rick swore under his breath. Anyone still up there? Maya was zipping up her jacket, about to head down herself. She heard the conversation on the radio. I can go check, she said. Rick looked at the monitors showing the mountain. The storm was getting worse by the minute. It's too dangerous. We'll send a full team at first light. First light could be too late, Maya said quietly. She thought about her mother, about being helpless, about watching someone suffer because no one came to help. Rick was still arguing with the dispatcher, trying to figure out what to do. Maya made a decision. She grabbed her emergency pack, checked her radio one more time, and headed for the door. Maya, wait, Rick called after her. But she was already gone, disappearing into the white storm, heading up the mountain while everyone else was coming down. Sophia's fingers were getting numb. She'd been trying to find the trail for 20 minutes now, and nothing looked familiar. Every direction was just white noise, snow and wind, and more snow. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. No signal. Of course there was no signal. She was on the side of a mountain in a blizzard. The battery icon showed 15%. The cold was draining it fast. Okay, think, she said out loud, her voice barely audible over the wind. Think, Sophia. Her father had taught her to ski when she was 4 years old. He'd taken her to the best resorts in the world. Switzerland, Japan, Aspen. She'd had private instructors, the best equipment money could buy. But none of that had prepared her for this. She tried to remember what those instructors had said about emergencies. Stay put, keep moving. She couldn't remember. Her brain felt foggy, slow. Was that normal? The wind hit her again, so hard she stumbled. Her designer ski jacket, the one she'd bought because it looked good in photos, wasn't warm enough. Not even close. She could feel the cold seeping through the layers, settling into her bones. She needed to find shelter, at least get out of the wind. Sophia spotted a cluster of rocks about 30 feet away and made her way toward them. Her legs felt heavy, like she was walking through water. When she finally reached the rocks, she collapsed against them, breathing hard. This was bad. This was really, really bad. She thought about her father, probably in some meeting right now, making deals worth millions of dollars. Her little brother, probably playing video games in their heated mansion. Did they even know she was in trouble? Would they realize something was wrong when she didn't answer her phone? Her phone. She pulled it out again. 10% battery now. She tried to type a text to her dad, but her fingers wouldn't work right. The message came out as gibberish. She deleted it and tried again, but the phone died in her hands. Sophia felt tears forming, but she was too cold to cry properly. She pulled her knees to her chest and tried to make herself smaller, trying to keep any warmth she had left. That's when she heard something. A voice, distant and distorted by the wind. Hello? Anyone out here? Sophia tried to yell back, but her voice came out as a croak. She tried again, louder this time. Here. I'm here. The voice got closer. Keep talking. I'm following your voice. I'm by the rocks, Sophia shouted, using every bit of energy she had left. The big rocks. And then, like something out of a dream, a figure appeared through the snow. Red jacket, medical cross on the back. Ski patrol. Maya had been following disturbed snow and instinct for the past 30 minutes. She'd found one of Sophia's ski poles about 10 minutes ago, dropped in the snow, and knew she was on the right track. When she finally spotted the girl huddled against the rocks, Maya felt a mix of relief and fear. Relief that she'd found her. Fear because of what she was seeing. The girl's lips had a bluish tint. She was shivering violently, which was actually a good sign. It meant her body was still trying to warm itself, but her eyes looked unfocused, confused. Classic signs of hypothermia. "Hey," Maya said, kneeling down beside her. "I'm Maya. I'm with Ski Patrol." "What's your name?" "Sophia." The girl managed through chattering teeth. "Okay, Sophia. I found you. You're going to be okay." Maya wished she felt as confident as she sounded. She keyed her radio. "This is Maya. I found her. We're at the north side of Black Diamond by the boulder field." Static. Then Rick's voice, barely audible through the interference. "Maya, conditions are too dangerous for extraction. You need to shelter in place. We'll come at first light." Maya looked at Sophia, then at the storm around them. First light was at least 12 hours away. "Copy that," she said into the radio. Then to Sophia, "Change of plans. We're camping tonight." Sophia's eyes widened. "Camping? But I'm so cold, I know. I'm going to fix that. But I need you to stay with me, okay? Stay awake and talk to me." Maya had trained for this scenario, but training and reality were two different things. She started working fast, her hands moving with practiced efficiency despite the conditions. First, she needed shelter. The rocks Sophia had found were actually perfect. They blocked some of the wind. Maya used her small emergency shovel to dig into the snow beside them, creating a cave-like structure. It was basic wilderness survival. Snow was actually a good insulator if you used it right. "What are you doing?" Sophia asked, her words slurring slightly. "Making us a snow cave," Maya said, still digging. "It's going to keep us warm. Well, warmer than out here." She worked for 20 minutes, creating a space just big enough for 2 people. Her own body was screaming with exhaustion, but she couldn't stop. Not yet. Once the shelter was ready, Maya helped Sophia inside. In the relative quiet of the cave, away from the worst of the wind, Maya could assess things better. Sophia's expensive ski gear had to go. It was wet and useless now. Maya pulled out her emergency thermal blanket and wrapped it around Sophia, then did something that surprised both of them. She took off her own thermal underlayers and gave them to Sophia. "No," Sophia protested weakly. "You'll freeze. I've got more gear than you and my body temp is higher right now because I was moving," Maya explained. "You need these more than I do." It was partly true. But the bigger truth was that Sophia's condition was more critical, and Maya knew it. As she helped Sophia into the warmer clothes, Maya kept talking. "So, Sophia, tell me about yourself. What brings you to Crystal Peak?" "Winter break," Sophia mumbled. "College? What school?" "Stanford." "Nice, what are you studying?" Sophia was quiet for a moment. "Business. Like my dad. You like business?" Another pause. "I don't know. Maybe. He wants me to take over his company someday." Maya could hear something in Sophia's voice. Pressure. Expectation. She knew that feeling, even if it came from a completely different world. "That's a lot of weight to carry," Maya said gently. Sophia looked at her then, really looked at her. Even in her confused state, she seemed surprised that someone understood. "Yeah," she whispered. "It is." The hours crawled by. Maya kept Sophia talking, asking questions, telling stories, anything to keep her conscious. She learned that Sophia had a younger brother who looked up to her, that her mother had died when she was 10, that she felt like she was always performing, always being the perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect heiress. "Is that why you went down that trail?" Maya asked. "To prove something?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Everyone thinks everything is easy for me, that I just coast on my dad's money. I wanted to show them I'm not afraid, that I can do hard things. You don't have to prove anything to anyone," Maya said softly. "Says the person who climbed a mountain in a blizzard to save someone," Sophia shot back, a tiny spark of her personality showing through. Maya smiled despite everything. "Fair point." As the night deepened, Sophia asked Maya questions too. Where was she from? What was her story? Maya found herself talking about things she rarely shared. About growing up in Detroit. About her mother working 3 jobs. About watching her mom get sick and not being able to afford the treatment that might have saved her. "I'm sorry," Sophia said, And she meant it. It's why I'm here, Maya explained. Why I'm training to be an EMT. I never want to feel that helpless again. I want to be the person who shows up when things go wrong. You definitely showed up today, Sophia said. But as the night wore on, their situation got worse. The temperature dropped even further. Maya's fingers were going numb now too. She'd given Sophia most of her warm layers, and even with her remaining gear, the cold was becoming dangerous. Sophia drifted in and out, her responses getting slower. Maya had to keep shaking her awake. Stay with me, Sophia. Come on. I'm so tired, Sophia mumbled. I know, but you can't sleep yet. Tell me about your brother. What's his name? Dylan, he's 15. He's funny. Makes me laugh even when I'm stressed about school. He'd want you to stay awake right now. He'd want his big sister to fight. Sophia's eyes opened a little wider. You're right. He would. Around midnight, Sophia asked a question that caught Maya off guard. Do you ever feel invisible? Like people see you, but they don't really see you? Maya thought about the guests at the resort who looked right through her when she cleaned their rooms. About the ski patrol instructor who'd told her she didn't look like someone who belonged on a mountain. About every time someone had made assumptions about her because of the color of her skin. Yeah, Maya said quietly. All the time. I'm sorry, Sophia said. I probably did that too. Today, I mean. Before all this. I probably walked right past you and didn't even notice. The honesty surprised Maya. Probably. That's messed up, Sophia said. Yeah, it is. They sat in silence for a moment. Just the sound of the wind outside and their breathing in the small space. If we get out of this, Sophia said slowly, I want to be better. I want to actually see people. When we get out of this, Maya corrected. When, not if. But privately, Maya was worried. Dawn was still hours away. The cold was getting to both of them now. And she'd made a decision that might cost her job. Might cost her everything she'd been working for. She'd gone up that mountain against direct orders. She'd put herself at risk. And if something went wrong, if they didn't make it through the night, it would be her fault. But looking at Sophia, seeing her fight to stay awake, seeing the real person underneath all that privilege, Maya knew she'd made the right choice. Some things were worth the risk. The darkest part of night felt like it would never end. Maya checked her watch for the 100th time. 3 a.m. Still hours until dawn. Still hours until help could reach them. Sophia had gone quiet about an hour ago, and that terrified Maya more than anything. She kept having to shake her awake, check her pulse, make sure she was still responsive. Sophia. Hey, Sophia. Open your eyes. Sophia's eyelids fluttered. Need you to talk to me. Tell me something, anything. Tired, Sophia mumbled. I know, but not yet. Come on. Maya's own exhaustion was becoming dangerous. Her thoughts felt slow, heavy. She had to keep moving, keep both of them alert. Tell me about the first time you went skiing. Sophia was quiet for so long that Maya thought she'd fallen asleep again. Then slowly she started talking. I was 4. My dad took me to Aspen. He held my hand the whole way down the bunny slope. Her voice was soft, distant. He was so patient. He kept saying, "You're doing great, Sophie." That's what he used to call me, Sophie. Used to? He doesn't anymore. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being Sophie and became Sophia Whitmore, future CEO. She laughed, but it sounded sad. I miss being Sophie. Maya felt a pang in her chest. She'd spent so much of her life resenting people like Sophia, people who had everything handed to them. But sitting here in this snow cave, listening to this girl talk about losing herself, Maya realized something. Money didn't fix everything. Different problems maybe, but still problems. You know what my mom used to say? Maya said, adjusting the thermal blanket around Sophia. She'd say, baby girl, don't let the world tell you who you are. You decide that. She sounds like she was amazing. She was. Maya's throat tightened. She worked herself to death trying to give me a better life. And I used to get so mad at her for it. I'd tell her to rest, to take a day off. But she'd just smile and say she was building me a future. Do you think she'd be proud of you? Of what you're doing now? Maya had to think about that. Was her mom proud? She was working 2 jobs, barely making rent, still years away from her goals. But she was here on this mountain trying to save someone's life. Yeah, Maya said finally. I think she would be. The wind outside howled even louder, and a blast of cold air found its way into their shelter. Both of them shivered. Maya knew they were in trouble. Real trouble. The kind of cold they were experiencing for this long could cause permanent damage. Frostbite, organ failure, death. But she couldn't let Sophia see her fear. "Your turn," Maya said. "Ask me something." Sophia thought for a moment. "Why did you come up here, really? You could have waited until morning like your supervisor said." Maya was quiet. It was a fair question. Why had she risked everything? "My mom died because no one came to help," she said finally. "We called 911, but the ambulance took 45 minutes. By the time they got there, it was too late. And I just kept thinking, what if someone had been closer? What if someone had been willing to break the rules, to risk something, to just show up? So you became that person." "I'm trying to." Sophia reached out with a shaking hand and touched Maya's arm. "Thank you for showing up." They sat like that for a while, two strangers from completely different worlds keeping each other alive through sheer will. Around 4 in the morning, things got worse. Sophia started saying things that didn't make sense. She thought her mother was there, talking about a birthday party. She asked Maya if she'd seen her phone, then got upset when Maya said she couldn't find it. Confusion. Disorientation. The hypothermia was progressing. Maya's own body was shutting down too. Her fingers had no feeling left in them. Her toes were numb. Every breath hurt. But she couldn't give up. "Not now. Sophia, listen to me. Stay focused. Look at my eyes." Sophia's gaze wandered around the cave, not landing on anything. "Sophia," Maya said more forcefully. "Look at me." This time Sophia's eyes found hers. "Your brother Dylan. Tell me what you'd say to him right now if you could." Something in Sophia's expression cleared a little. "I'd tell him not to let Dad push him around. To be himself, good. What else? I'd tell him I love him. Even when I'm busy or stressed or acting like a jerk. I love him." "You're going to tell him that yourself," Maya said firmly. "Tomorrow, when we get down this mountain." "How do you know we'll make it?" "Because I didn't climb up here in a blizzard just to fail now," Maya said. "And because you're stronger than you think you are. You made it this far, didn't you? Only because you found me. You stayed calm enough to find shelter. You fought to stay awake. That's all you, Sophia." The sky started to change around 5:30. Not light exactly, but less dark. A deep blue that suggested dawn was coming. Maya tried her radio again. "This is Maya Johnson with Ski Patrol. Do you copy? Static." Then finally a voice. "Maya, this is base. We copy." "What's your status?" Relief flooded through her. "We're alive. Sophia has moderate hypothermia. I'm managing, but we need extraction as soon as possible. Helicopter is prepped. Weather's still rough, but we can fly. Can you get to the emergency beacon at point 7? Maya knew where that was. About half a mile from their current position. In good conditions, that was a 10-minute ski. In these conditions, with Sophia barely conscious and her own body failing. "I'll get there," Maya said. She looked at Sophia, who was drifting again. Maya made a decision that would either save them or doom them both. "Sophia, I need you to listen very carefully. I'm going to leave you here for a little while." Sophia's eyes snapped open. "No, don't leave me. I have to. There's an emergency beacon about half a mile from here. I can activate it and guide the rescue team to us. But I need you to stay here, stay wrapped up, and keep yourself awake. Can you do that?" "What if you don't come back?" "I'll come back. I promise. People break promises." Maya took Sophia's face in her hands, making sure she was looking at her. "I kept my promise to come find you, didn't I? I'm not breaking this one. You stay alive and I'll be back before you know it." She left Sophia with most of the warm gear and emergency supplies. She marked their shelter carefully so she could find it again, and so the rescue team could locate it if something happened to her. Then she stepped out into the storm. The wind hit her like a physical force. Without her thermal layer, she felt the cold immediately, cutting through her remaining gear like it wasn't even there. But she started moving, using her knowledge of the mountain and her training to navigate. Every step was agony. Her legs felt like cement. Her face was so cold it hurt to breathe. But she kept moving, counting her steps, checking her compass, staying focused. She thought about her mother working 3 jobs. If her mom could do that year after year, Maya could do this. She thought about Sophia, trusting her to come back. She thought about every person who'd ever doubted her. Every time someone had looked at her and decided she didn't belong, she was going to prove them all wrong. The beacon station came into view after what felt like hours but was probably only 20 minutes. Maya's hands were so numb she could barely work the controls. It took her 3 tries to activate the emergency signal. When the light finally turned green, she collapsed in the snow. Her radio crackled. "Maya, we have your signal. Helicopter is inbound. At 10 minutes. 10 minutes. She just had to stay conscious for 10 more minutes. But her body had other ideas. The adrenaline that had been keeping her going suddenly drained away. The cold rushed in. Her vision started to blur. She thought about Sophia, alone in that cave, waiting. She thought about her promise. Stay awake, she told herself. Just 10 more minutes. The sound of helicopter blades cut through the wind. Maya tried to stand, to wave, but her legs wouldn't work anymore. She managed to lift one arm. Please see me, she thought, please. The helicopter came closer. Someone was shouting something she couldn't quite hear. Then there were people around her, hands lifting her, voices telling her she was going to be okay. The girl, Maya tried to say, but her words came out wrong. Sophia in the cave. I marked it. We've got it, someone said. We've got both of you. You did good, kid. You did real good. Maya let herself close her eyes then. She'd kept her promise. Sophia would be found. They'd both make it off this mountain. As they loaded her into the helicopter, Maya's last conscious thought was of her mother. She hoped somehow her mom knew what she'd done today, that she'd finally become the person who showed up when it mattered most. The helicopter lifted off, fighting against the wind, carrying Maya down the mountain toward safety. Behind them, a second helicopter was already hovering over the marked location, lowering rescue workers to extract Sophia from the snow cave. The storm continued to rage, but for Maya and Sophia the worst was over. They'd survived the night. They'd survived each other's worlds colliding in the worst possible way. Now they just had to survive what came next. Maya woke up to beeping. Steady, rhythmic beeping that made her head hurt. She tried to open her eyes, but the light was too bright. Everything felt heavy and wrong. She's waking up. A woman's voice, professional and calm. Maya, can you hear me? Maya managed to nod slightly. Her throat felt like sandpaper. You're in the hospital, the voice continued. You've been here for about 6 hours. You had severe hypothermia and frostbite. You're going to be okay. The memories came flooding back. The mountain. The storm, Sophia. The girl, Maya croaked. Is she okay? She's fine. In the next wing. Her father's with her. Relief washed over Maya, and she let herself sink back into the pillows. They'd made it. They'd actually made it. But as the hours passed and Maya became more alert, she started to understand what she'd done, what she'd risked, and what it might cost her. Rick, her ski patrol supervisor, came by that evening. He looked tired, worried, and something else. Angry, maybe. How are you feeling? He asked, sitting in the chair by her bed. Like I got hit by a truck made of ice. Rick didn't smile. Maya, what you did was incredibly reckless. You went up that mountain against direct orders. You put yourself in danger. You're lucky you're not dead. But I'm not, Maya said quietly. And neither is Sophia. That's not the point. That's exactly the point. Maya sat up straighter, ignoring the pain. Someone was dying on that mountain. I had the training and the ability to help. What was I supposed to do? Wait until morning and hope she made it? You were supposed to follow protocol, Rick said. But his voice had lost some of its edge. There are rules for a reason. I know. And I broke them. Fire me if you have to, but I'd do it again. Rick rubbed his face with both hands. That's what I was afraid of. He stood up. The resort management wants to meet with you when you're released. They're deciding what to do. After Rick left, Maya stared at the ceiling. She might lose everything. Her job, her training position, maybe even her chance at becoming an EMT. Schools didn't like candidates with disciplinary records, but when she closed her eyes, she saw Sophia huddled in that cave, slowly freezing to death, and Maya knew she'd made the right choice. Consequences be damned. 2 rooms away, Sophia was having a very different conversation. Her father, Richard Whitmore, sat beside her bed, holding her hand like she might disappear if he let go. He'd arrived by private helicopter the moment the storm cleared, bringing 3 personal doctors with him. When they told me you were missing, he said, his voice breaking, I thought I'd lost you, like I lost your mother. Sophia had never seen her father cry before. He was always so composed, so in control. Seeing him like this, vulnerable and scared, made her chest ache. I'm sorry, Dad, I was stupid. I just wanted to prove I was more than your daughter. That I could do something on my own." Richard looked at her with confusion and pain in his eyes. "Why would you need to prove that? You're brilliant. You're strong. You're everything I could have hoped for. But it's always about you," Sophia said, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "I'm always Sophia Whitmore, Richard Whitmore's daughter. The girl who'll take over the company. The heiress. I just wanted to be me for once." Her father was quiet for a long moment. "I never knew you felt that way." "I thought I was giving you opportunities. A future. You are. But sometimes I feel like I'm living your life instead of mine." They talked for hours after that. Really talked in a way they hadn't since Sophia was a child. About expectations and pressure and the weight of legacy. About who Sophia wanted to be versus who everyone expected her to become. Eventually, Richard asked the question Sophia had been dreading. "Who was the person who found you?" "The ski patrol officer? Her name is Maya Johnson. I want to thank her and compensate her properly for saving your life." Something in Sophia's expression made him pause. "What?" he asked. "She's probably going to get fired for saving me," Sophia said. "She went up that mountain against orders. The resort management is deciding her fate right now." Richard's expression hardened into the business mode Sophia knew well. "That's absurd. She's a hero. That's not how they see it. She broke protocol. Put herself at risk. They're calling it reckless. Get me the resort manager on the phone now." Sophia grabbed his arm. "Dad, wait. Don't just throw money at this. That's not what Maya needs. Then what does she need?" Sophia thought about their conversations in the snow cave. About Maya's dreams and struggles. About everything she'd learned in those long, cold hours. "She needs a chance," Sophia said. "A real chance. Not charity, not pity. Just someone believing she's good enough." The next morning, the story hit the news. "Billionaire's daughter rescued from blizzard by heroic ski patrol worker" was the headline on every major outlet. Maya's phone, which the hospital staff had returned to her, exploded with notifications. Messages from people she barely knew, friend requests from strangers, news organizations asking for interviews. A reporter somehow got her room number and tried to visit. The nurses had to kick him out. Maya watched the coverage with growing discomfort. The media was painting her as some kind of hero, but that's not how it felt. She'd just done what needed to be done. And now everyone was making it into something bigger, something sensational. "Brave young woman risks everything to save stranger," one headline read. Another one made her stomach turn. "Black hero saves white billionaire's daughter, a story of courage across class lines." Why do they have to mention race? Maya muttered to herself. What does that have to do with anything? But she knew why. The story was more interesting that way. More dramatic. Rich white girl and poor black girl trapped on a mountain together. It was the kind of narrative people loved. Some of the coverage was positive. But some of it was ugly. Online commenters questioned her motives. "She obviously did it for the reward money," one person wrote. "This is all a publicity stunt," claimed another. Some even suggested the whole thing had been staged. Maya wanted to throw her phone across the room. The resort management meeting happened on her third day in the hospital. They came to her room, 3 executives in expensive suits, looking uncomfortable in the medical setting. "Ms. Johnson," the head of operations began, "we need to discuss what happened on the mountain." Maya sat up straighter, ignoring the IV tugging at her arm. "I understand I violated protocol. I accept whatever consequences you decide. You endangered yourself and potentially other rescue workers. You acted without authorization. I saved someone's life." "That's not the point of contention here," another executive chimed in. "The point is whether we can employ someone who doesn't follow directives." Maya felt her dream slipping away. All the work, all the sacrifice, everything she'd built here. Gone because she'd done the right thing. However, the head of operations continued, "We're in a difficult position. The media attention on this story is significant. Firing you would create a public relations nightmare. So that's what this was about. Not her actions, not whether she'd done right or wrong. Just how it looked. We've decided to place you on suspension pending a full investigation," he said. 2 weeks paid. After that, we'll make a final determination. It wasn't fired. But it wasn't forgiveness either." Maya nodded, not trusting herself to speak. After they left, Maya finally let herself cry. Not from the pain of her injuries, but from the frustration of it all. She'd risked her life. Kept someone alive through an impossible night, and now she was being punished for it. There was a knock on her door. Maya wiped her eyes quickly. "Come in." It was Sophia. She looked different from the girl Maya had found on the mountain. Clean, healthy, wearing expensive clothes that actually fit. But her eyes were the same, that vulnerability that expensive things couldn't hide. "Hey," Sophia said softly. "Can I come in?" Maya nodded, not sure what to say. Sophia sat in the visitor's chair, the same one Rick had used. "I heard about the meeting with the resort management." Of course she had. People like Sophia always heard things. "It's fine," Maya said, though it clearly wasn't. "It's not fine." "None of this is fine." Sophia leaned forward. "You saved my life, and they're treating you like you did something wrong. I did break the rules. Sometimes the rules are stupid." Maya almost smiled at that. Rich coming from someone who's probably never broken a rule in her life. "I broke one. I went down that trail when I shouldn't have. And it almost killed us both." Sophia's voice was thick with emotion. "This is my fault, Maya, all of it." "No," Maya said firmly. "You made a mistake. But you're not responsible for how people react to me trying to fix it." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Sophia asked, "What are you going to do now?" Maya looked out the window at the mountains in the distance. "I don't know. Wait for their investigation, I guess. Hope they decide I'm worth keeping." "You are," Sophia said. "Worth keeping, I mean. You're worth everything." There was something in her voice that made Maya look at her more closely. Sophia wasn't just here out of guilt. There was genuine respect in her eyes, maybe even friendship. "Thank you," Maya said, "for coming." "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." Sophia stood up. "I'm going to fix this, Maya. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to fix it." "Sophia, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. You showed me what courage looks like. Now let me show you what I can do with all this privilege I've been trying to run from." After Sophia left, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in days. Hope. Not because she thought Sophia could fix everything with her father's money and influence, but because for the first time in her life, someone from that world was actually seeing her, really seeing her, and deciding she mattered. That night, Maya's doctor came in to check on her injuries. The frostbite on her fingers and toes was responding to treatment, but she'd lost part of the tip of her left index finger. It wasn't severe, but it was permanent. "Will this affect my ability to work as an EMT?" Maya asked. The doctor hesitated. "It shouldn't, with time and proper rehabilitation. But you'll need to adapt to the loss. One more thing taken from her. One more price paid for doing the right thing." But when Maya closed her eyes that night, she didn't regret it. She thought about Sophia, alive and safe. She thought about her mother, who'd sacrificed everything for her. She thought about the person she was becoming, fingertip or not. She'd survived the mountain. Now she just had to survive what came after. The media storm was worse than the actual storm on the mountain. That's what Maya thought as she scrolled through her phone 2 days after being released from the hospital. Her face was everywhere. On news websites, social media, even trending on platforms she'd never heard of. Someone had found her high school graduation photo and shared it with the caption, "Before she was a hero." Another post showed her in her cleaning uniform, pushing a cart through the resort hallway. The caption read, "By day she cleaned rooms, by night she saved lives." Maya hated all of it. The attention, the dramatization, the way people she'd never met felt entitled to tell her story. Local hero or reckless employee? The debate over Maya Johnson's mountain rescue read one think piece. The article interviewed safety experts who said what she did was dangerous and set a bad example. Others called her brave and said the resort should be grateful. Nobody asked Maya what she thought. She was sitting in her tiny apartment, staring at her bandaged hand, when someone knocked on the door. She wasn't expecting visitors. Most of her co-workers had sent texts of support but kept their distance, probably worried about being associated with someone under investigation. When she opened the door, Sophia was standing there with coffee and what looked like homemade cookies. "My dad's chef made these," Sophia said, holding up the container. "I told him you liked chocolate chip." "I hope that was right." "I just guessed based on the energy bars in your pack." Maya couldn't help but smile. "You came all the way here to bring me cookies?" "And to talk." Sophia looked uncertain, vulnerable in a way that expensive clothes couldn't hide. "Can I come in?" Maya's apartment was embarrassingly small compared to where Sophia probably lived. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and dining room. A kitchen that was barely more than a hot plate and mini fridge. a bathroom so tiny you could touch all four walls at once. But Sophia didn't seem to notice or care. She sat on the only chair and waited while Maya sat on the bed. "I've been thinking about what you said," Sophia began, "about not fixing this with money or influence. But Maya, I have to do something. You're suspended because of me. I'm suspended because I broke the rules. You broke the rules because I was dying on that mountain." Sophia's voice rose with frustration. "How is that fair?" "Life isn't fair," Maya said simply. "I learned that a long time ago." "Well, I'm just learning it now." Sophia set down her coffee. "I talked to my father. Really talked for the first time in years. And I told him what happened in that snow cave. What we talked about. Who you are." Maya felt uncomfortable. "Sophia, I appreciate it, but I don't want your dad's charity." "It's not charity. Just listen." Sophia leaned forward. "My dad wants to establish a wilderness emergency response training program at the resort. A real program with proper funding and certification. And he wants you to help design it." Maya blinked. "What?" "He's thinking bigger than just the resort. A program that could train people from all backgrounds. Not just rich kids who can afford expensive certifications, scholarships, equipment, everything. And he wants you to be part of it from the ground up." It sounded too good to be true. "Why would he do that?" "Because I asked him to. And because he's realizing that maybe his money could actually do some good instead of just making more money." Sophia smiled slightly. "Plus, it's good PR for his company. He's a businessman first, even when he's trying to be a good guy." Maya wanted to be excited, but something held her back. "The resort still hasn't decided about my job. If they fire me, none of this matters." "They're not going to fire you. You don't know that." "Actually, I do." Sophia pulled out her phone and showed Maya a video. "This went live an hour ago." Maya watched as Sophia appeared on screen sitting in what looked like a professional interview setup. The video was titled, "Sophia Whitmore Speaks About Her Mountain Rescue." In the video, Sophia told the whole story. Not the sanitized version the media had been running, but the real one. She talked about ignoring the warning signs, about her arrogance in thinking she knew better. She talked about the fear, the cold, the certainty that she was going to die. And then she talked about Maya, not as some abstract hero, but as a real person who made an impossible choice, who gave up her own warmth to keep Sophia alive, who left her in that cave promising to come back, and kept that promise even though it nearly killed her. "Maya Johnson didn't save me because she wanted to be a hero," Sophia said in the video, her voice steady and clear. "She saved me because it was the right thing to do, because someone needed help and she had the ability to give it. And now people are debating whether she should be punished for that. It's absurd. It's wrong." The video continued with Sophia addressing the resort management directly. "If you fire Maya Johnson, you're sending a message that following rules is more important than saving lives. You're telling your employees that being a good person is less valuable than being an obedient one. Is that really the message you want to send?" The video had already been viewed over 2 million times. Maya looked up from the phone, stunned. "You did this for me?" "I did this for the truth," Sophia said. "And because I'm done being quiet. I'm done letting other people control the narrative." Maya felt tears threatening. "They're going to come after you for this. The trolls, the critics, let them." Sophia's jaw was set with determination. "I spent my whole life trying to be perfect, trying to make everyone happy. Where did that get me? Nearly frozen to death on a mountain because I was too proud to admit I wasn't ready." Over the next few days, things shifted. The video went viral. Public opinion swung heavily in Maya's favor. Other ski patrol workers spoke up, saying they would have done the same thing. Emergency response experts pointed out that sometimes the right call means breaking protocol. The resort's social media was flooded with comments. People threatened to boycott if Maya was fired. They praised Sophia for speaking up. They demanded better emergency response policies. 3 days before Maya's suspension was supposed to end, the resort called her in for a meeting. This time it was just the head of operations, looking tired and almost apologetic. "Ms. Johnson," he began, after reviewing everything, including the public response and consultation with emergency services experts, "we've decided to reinstate you. No disciplinary record. Full back pay for your suspension." Maya felt relief flood through her, but she kept her expression neutral. "Thank you. Additionally," he continued, "we're partnering with Whitmore Industries to develop a new emergency response program. We'd like you to be part of the development team. It would be a promotion with better pay and benefits. This was what Sophia had mentioned, but hearing it officially made it real. There is one condition, he added. You need to complete additional training and certification. Mr. Whitmore has offered to cover all costs. Maya thought about it. Her pride wanted to refuse the financial help, but her practical side knew this was an opportunity she couldn't create on her own. I'll accept the scholarship, she said finally, but I want to pay it forward. When I'm certified, I want to help train others who can't afford it. The executive nodded. I think that can be arranged. 2 weeks later, Maya was back on the mountain. Not as a cleaner or a trainee, but as a full member of the ski patrol with a new role in program development. Sophia had started coming to the resort regularly, not as a guest, but as a volunteer. She was training for her wilderness first responder certification. Her Instagram, which used to be all luxury lifestyle posts, now showed her in training gear, learning CPR, studying emergency protocols. My followers keep asking when I'm going back to normal content, Sophia told Maya one afternoon as they practiced litter carries. I told them this is my normal now. They were sitting in the patrol station after a training session when Sophia brought up something that had been on both their minds. Do you ever think about that night? Sophia asked. In the snow cave? All the time, Maya admitted. Me too. I was so scared. But also, I felt like I saw myself clearly for the first time in years. Does that make sense? Maya nodded. Yeah, it does. I've been thinking about changing my major, Sophia said suddenly. Maybe pre-med. Or emergency management. Something that actually helps people. Your dad would hate that. Probably. But I spent my whole life trying to be what he wanted. Almost dying kind of puts things in perspective. Sophia smiled. Plus, he's actually been pretty supportive. He said I reminded him of my mom. She was a nurse before she married him. Maya hadn't known that. It made sense, though, why Richard had been so quick to support the emergency response program. 6 months after the rescue, the Whitmore Emergency Response Initiative held its first training session. 20 students from diverse backgrounds, all on full scholarship, learning wilderness emergency medicine and rescue techniques. Maya stood in front of the group on the first day. Her bandaged finger now healed into a permanent reminder of that night on the mountain. Most of you know my story, she began. But this program isn't about me. It's about making sure that when someone needs help, there are people ready and willing to provide it. People from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all experiences. She saw Sophia in the back of the room, taking notes like any other student. They'd become real friends over the past months. Not the kind of friendship based on what happened on the mountain, but genuine connection built over time. The program was everything Maya had hoped for. Comprehensive training, proper equipment, real certifications that would open doors. And it wasn't just theoretical. They worked with local emergency services, did real rescues, made real differences. One of the students was a young guy from a rough neighborhood in Denver, working 3 jobs like Maya had. Another was a single mother who'd always wanted to work in emergency services but couldn't afford the training. There was a former teacher, a reformed gang member, a kid who'd aged out of foster care. All of them were getting a chance they wouldn't have had otherwise. The media eventually moved on to other stories. The viral videos faded. Life went back to something resembling normal, except nothing was really normal anymore. Maya still worked hard. She still struggled with bills sometimes. She still dealt with people who underestimated her or made assumptions based on how she looked. But now she had something she'd never had before, a real path forward. And people who believed in her. Sophia struggled too in different ways. Choosing a different path than her father had planned meant navigating complicated family dynamics. Her friends from her old life didn't understand why she was slumming it at a ski resort. People accused her of poverty tourism, or trying to ease her guilt with performative activism. But she kept showing up. Kept training. Kept learning. 1 year after the rescue, Maya stood on the mountain during a clear, beautiful day. No storm, no emergency, just the quiet beauty of nature. Sophia joined her at the overlook. Remember this spot? Sophia asked.